Hey guys, what's up? It's Jack here, and this is my second attempt at the long version of my E3 thoughts video. The first attempt, I wasn't too satisfied with it, so let's start again. Yeah, I wanted to put this up earlier, but I got kind of busy. So let's not waste any time. I'll tell you because this is going to go on for a while. So I'll tell you in detail my thoughts on all the things I brought up in the previous video. So we'll start with the consoles, and right away I'm going to say I don't have much to say about the consoles simply because when it comes to consoles, whether or not I'm going to get a console depends more on the game library than on the quality of the console itself. Usually, there are cases unless the console's like extremely good or extremely bad, that's going to be the case. But if it's just okay, then it's going to be a game library that decides it. So, start with the Wii U. I said I'm interested in it, and that is because I'm going to be getting it this year for, well, I think you can guess what I'm going to be getting it for. But, yeah. What do I think about it? Well, the Wii U always seemed like an interesting idea to me with its whole gamepad thing and whatnot, but I kind of hope that the Wii U, unlike its predecessor, doesn't have its entire game library secluded from the rest of the game library. How it'd be so much more convenient if the Wii U had the same games that the PS4 and Xbox One are going to have, is what I'm trying to say. Whereas most of the time the Wii didn't have what the 360 or PS3 had. And likewise, the 360 and PS3 often didn't have what the Wii had. Because of how there was such a huge gap in the hardware. But I'm hoping the Wii U's hardware is able to match. I'm hoping the hardware gaps, the hardware gap isn't as great between them that we can't have shared game. We can't have the game library be more shared between those consoles. But so let's move on. PS4. I said I'm neutral on it, but allow me to clarify that's only because I really don't know much about it outside of I know it's like $400. It's got free online. It's pretty much just the next step in the PlayStation consoles, and I'm not saying that's a bad thing at all. It's just that it's nothing to really make me ecstatic per se. It's now because again, it's going to be with something like this. It'll be up to game libraries. It'll be more about when I find out that there's a game for the PS4 that I really want. I'm going to probably want to pick it up. Unless I hear something really phenomenal about it, like they suddenly announce that the PS4 has like an automatic blowjob function in it or something crazy like that. But I will say this much. Sure, I say that I'm neutral on it, and there's nothing really substantially interesting about it, but in this case, there doesn't really need to be. And the reason is because of the Xbox One. That essentially, there was a Saturday Night Live skit once where they had Barack Obama. They basically had someone playing Barack Obama, and he'd basically come on and talk about the state of affairs, like economic affairs and stuff like that, and how bad things are. And how shitty things are. And he'd say, I'm not worried. I should be worried, but I'm not. For we have a secret weapon. And then it would show their, quote, secret weapon, unquote, which is Romney, his opponent, who is doing stupid. It would show him saying stupid things. And the idea was that Obama is not worried because his opponent is Romney. And Romney essentially is just by his opponent being Romney, his chances of winning were that much easier. And that's the same case with Sony right now with the PS4. They don't need to, do all that because they just need to not be the Xbox One. They just need to not be the Xbox One right now. That's all. And yeah, it's working out well for them. I mean, at E3, they had that little press conference where they basically just said, we're not this and we're not that, this and that, referring to things the Xbox One is that everyone hates. And when they said that, people in the crowd were just applauding wildly. It's like, so that tells you right away where they are. It's just Microsoft is screwed. They're basically Sony's greatest asset right now. To get for getting sales of the PS4. That's how bad it is. But so I'll pick up the PS4 if I think there's something I want for it. But I'm not sure if there is right now. and I'm not sure if I'm going to get it. So I'm not quite sure if I'm going to get it. So let's talk about the Xbox One now. Oh, dear Lord. I'm not going to talk too much about it simply because if I do, it'll turn into this video will transform into a rant about the Xbox One. And if you want to see that, I will make it. But until you ask for that, I'm not going to give that because that would just be wasting time. And this video is probably going to be like 40 minutes or something anyway, so I don't want to waste too much time. But yeah, I despise the Xbox One if you haven't figured it out yet. And but I'll say this much: I've honestly felt had negative feelings towards Microsoft for a long time. I've always had this bad vibe about them. I've always known them to be I've always known for a long time that they're assholes who will stab you in the back and suck your blood out to get money and stuff like that. You know, that they're just a bunch of blood-sucking leeches, and they don't really care at all what their fans think. I've known that for a long time. I've always seen through their PR smiles and whatnot, and I've known I could tell the fakes. I could tell them faking out those smiles, and we're concerned about our customers and whatever. It was all fake. You know, and I was just basically waiting for them. To me, what they were doing is they had the support of everyone because, like, you look back, the PS3 was always the one getting dissed and the 360 was always the one getting praised. And I always thought to myself, well, this is like walking on a tightrope because I can tell that they don't feel genuine about this. So I've always hoped that one day I would get the chance to see them trip and fall off that tightrope and, the shit hit the fan for them. And finally it did. Finally got to see it. Now finally Microsoft is just finally exposed for their true colors. Everyone's seeing how crappy they really are. And it's great to see them getting the hate they deserve. Because they have this kind of attitude where they'll implement a new feature. It won't even be originally their idea. It'll be another person's idea, but they'll implement it. And they'll pass it off as their idea. And because it was their idea, or because it was supposedly their idea, even if it was someone else's idea, and they basically won't. They'll have their head up their ass where they won't hear any criticisms. Even if everyone hates it, all they'll hear are the compliments, if any, about it. And if there aren't any compliments, they'll pretend that there are. And what will happen is they'll decide that since we added this feature, it's obviously the future of gaming, so we're gonna push this feature down your throat in the future, and if you don't want it, you can go fuck yourself. That's the attitude they have. And good examples are, a good example of that would be the Kinect, which is they kind of stole that from the PlayStation 2's iToy. I mean, granted, or Xbox Live, they didn't come. They weren't the first people to do internet gaming. Granted, they were probably the first one to do it right, but still, the Xbox in the case of the Kinect, they weren't. They didn't because the iToy didn't do it right, but neither did the Kinect. That's the point. And they try to pass it off as this is but then it's like they think themselves, but they seem to be immune to hearing the criticism about the Kinect. All they hear is the good things, if any, that are spoken about it, and so they think so. Essentially, they have it stuck in their mind. They convince themselves that the Kinect is a success and that everyone loves it, and they say, well, the Kinect must be the future of gaming. So for our next console, we'll have Kinect be a required function. And if you don't like the Kinect, you can go. And if you happen to not like the Kinect or not like that fact, you can go fuck yourself. That last part, though, about them saying you can go fuck yourself, that's really more a case of how they respond to the criticisms about Xbox One always having to be online. It's like they say, well, if you don't like it, you can. If you don't like that you have to always be online with the Xbox One. We have a console, or if you can't do that, we have a console for you. It's called the Xbox 360. And I'm like, fuck you, seriously. And for the record, I think just about every new game release requires an update from Xbox Live, and a lot of them can't be played without those updates. So that's not even fully true itself. But Xbox One, the Xbox One, they're basically selling you not to buy the Xbox One when they say that, which is very stupid of them. And it's pretty much again proving that they're the PS4's greatest. Oh, and this is part of the reason I updated it, because this is something new I heard. I heard that they apparently stormed the Best Buy Nintendo event. and harass people and try to get them to say, like, buy the Xbox One. And I'm like, wow, that's a low blow for these guys. You know, it's like, well, and then pretty much, you know why I did it? It's probably like, well, we told them to not buy it, so now we have to be insufferable assholes telling them to buy it because to make up for that fact. Yeah, the Xbox One is just a train wreck, man. So many things are wrong with it. And I could go on forever about what's wrong with it, and that's why I'm going to cut it here, because if you want to see a full rant about about everything I hate about the Xbox One, let me know, and I'll make a video dedicated to that. But now I'm going to note, though, you probably noticed that I said I'm not certain whether I'm buying the PS4 or not, or whether I'm buying the Xbox One or not. You're probably asking yourself, how can that possibly be? I clearly despise it, and I do despise it. I hate it more than anything ever, but there's one thing, and I'll get to that later, but I want to definitely say I'm not going to buy the Xbox One, but I'd be lying if I did. And that's the part. For the record, if I do end up buying it, it'll be with great reluctance, and my hatred of the system will not subside. I'll just be putting up. It'll probably be like kind of what my relationship with it'll be like what my current relationship with Microsoft is, putting up with stuff I hate for stuff I like. But we'll get into that in a minute. And listen, I'm still not even sure if I'm going to do that. So we'll get to that. Well, not in a minute. We'll get to that later, like towards the end of the video. So just hold that thought. Now let's talk more about the games themselves, because that's, like I said before, that's whether or not I'm going to buy a console really matters about what games are there. So we'll start with Sonic Lost World. Yeah. So I remember somebody said that they were surprised that I was only interested in it and not ecstatic for it or anything. Which maybe I should explain that more. But I'll start. So let me talk about like the new mechanics and stuff first before I get into the levels and stuff. So the new mechanics are, you got this very Sonic Extreme mechanic, which they say is not Sonic Extreme but yeah, totally. No, they say it wasn't inspired by Sonic Extreme. It totally was. Well, I definitely think that's a cool idea for additional paths. There's definitely potential there. I think the Wisp powers, I think they're going to, from what I can tell, and this is too early to judge, but from what I'm seeing, it seems like they're doing a better job implementing them, in that they're not, they're not overly used or being gimmickly shoved down your throat like they were in Sonic Colors. And I kind of enjoyed the Wisp powers, but I have to admit they were kind of overdone, but they were way overblown in Sonic Colors. So it's nice to have them being done as more like an extra feature, as opposed to, the main feature of the game. As opposed to the main feature of the game, which, the main feature of the game should be Sonic going through levels. Yeah. What do I think about the parkour system? Now, that's actually a really nice feature. I think that, I'm not necessarily sold on this new gameplay style for Sonic Lost World, but that feature, I'm sold on that feature. No matter what they do in the future for Sonic games, if they go to a new gameplay style, I want them to keep the parkour system, because that's a really nice idea. It's a really good addition. It seems like it's well implemented, from what I can tell. Now, I have one other thing I wanted to say before I moved on to. Oh yeah. So apparently they want to do. This is pretty much what they're going to do. I thought Sonic Generations was probably the closest thing to a perfect Sonic game we have ever had. But if I had to say one complaint about it, is that there was little variety in the levels. The levels, there were like 5 city stages, and I would have probably swapped out some for some more variety, which. That's what Sonic Lost World is trying to do, capture more variety in the Sonic levels, and I can't fault them for that. Because that's improving on their mistake from the last title. But yeah, what do I think about the levels themselves? Well, let's take a look at the first level. Well, first level largely focused on that new Sonic Extreme Super Mario Galaxy-esque kind of stuff, and it was interesting. And like I said, it kind of does leave some chances for a lot of exploration. But I admit, I also kind of felt a little dizzy watching it. It looked okay. It didn't look anything like. It didn't look like phenomenal, but it looked okay. Oh, one more little feature I want to talk about. The return of collecting animals is also a cool idea, and apparently it's going to play like a bigger role. That's cool. But yeah, moving on back to the stages. So the first stage seemed interesting, but it's not like groundbreaking, just kind of interesting. The second level they showed, which was that was a solid level. It was basically like a 2D old school level. It was solid. It was great platforming, great speed, great exploration. There were a lot of really cool, clever hidden paths. Like I love how there's one that looks like a jump to your death, but then you go down and it turns out really is like a secret path to get additional rings. That's actually clever. So I thought that was a solid level, and I should also note that it was cool to have return to like the candy theme level, like Sleep Mountain Zone from Sonic Colors, and it was nice. It was really nice, but yeah. So I think that's probably my favorite thing. That was probably the thing that got me interested the most in this game was that level. That seems really fun, and I really look forward to playing that. So that was a solid level, and so what do I think about the third level? Well, they said in the IGN presentation, Aaron Weber said that for those of us who are like big fans of the high speed stuff from Sonic Unleashed, Sonic Colors, and Sonic Generations, that this would be for us, that level would be for us. They really said that would be that high speed excitement would be our thing, right? Well, so what did I think about that? Well, I guess you could say I was a little let down by that part. I don't hate it, and I actually think I'll have fun. I think I'll still have fun with it and enjoy it, but let me explain what I mean by when I say I'm a little let down. So I enjoyed Sonic and the Secret Rings, and I want to make something clear here. A lot of people think I actually like Sonic 06. I don't like Sonic 06. I just don't hate it as much as everyone. I don't hate it as much as everyone else. I think there's far worse, and I don't think it's the worst thing ever. The biggest problem with 06 is that it just wasn't finished. It was just an unfinished game. Well, no, actually, a correction. That's the second biggest problem. The first biggest problem is that it has no physics whatsoever. It literally has no physics whatsoever. But ignoring that, what I did have fun with though in Sonic 06 were the Mach Speed sections. I admit I had fun with those, particularly the Kingdom Valley one. That was actually pretty fun. So that said. Oh yeah, and another thing I just want to know, seeing YouTube videos of like Sonic 06 levels in Sonic Generations shows that if with a properly polished gameplay style, those levels wouldn't necessarily be so bad. To my shock, I was shocked to see how well they worked out in Sonic Generations. But going back to my point though, so I've enjoyed on-rails speed sections before. I've had fun with that. But here's the thing: back then, my thought was, well, it's on rails because there's no way they could possibly program a game where you could run that fast and be in full control. It just wouldn't work out. It's impossible. There's no way they could pull it off. And then I remember seeing the trailers for Sonic Unleashed. Now, the first two, I couldn't quite figure out if it was on rails or not, just from looking at it. And then so I waited for like E3 where we got the gameplay presentation. And when the gameplay presentation came out and it showed that you had full control Sonic, my jaw dropped. I was like, holy shit, this is awesome. We get to control Sonic going that fast. Not just being on rails. We're making him go that fast. I thought that was awesome, and I thought that was great. So I was ecstatic about that. And I think to me that was moving ahead. That was pushing the boundaries of what they could do with the gameplay. And so I think that for the speed element of Sonic Lost World to be carried by just by an on-rails mechanic, it feels a little bit like a letdown. It's like we've been there. It's kind of going backwards now. And I'll admit, it didn't really seem all that fast either. It was kind of slow. But again, I might be able to have fun with it, but but it's people complain that Unleashed was just going in a straight direction. No, that was going in a straight direction with some twists and turns. But it was just going down, and there wasn't really any loops or anything like that. Actually, come to think of it, I didn't see a single loop in Sonic. No, wait, yes I did. No, wait. I think I might have seen them in the second level, but in the first and third level there weren't any loops. But that's probably because. But then again, loops are better in 2D anyway. So, but yeah, there wasn't anything. There wasn't really much. It was just going in a straight line. So I kind of felt that one kind of let me down a bit. Though I have to ask a question at the end though. What was with the giant green face at the end of the level? I did not get that. But other things I want to talk about regarding it. Well, one thing I will talk about though is an amusing thing about the story that we know so far is we know that yeah. Well, okay, this is something my friend Zach and I always talk about when it comes to Sonic games. We look at what is it? We looked at like the plots, and we noticed that with the exception of the Sonic Storybook games, whenever something happens in the Sonic world, Sonic universe, it's always somehow Dr. Fatass is always responsible. Like, I mean, think about it. Even when he's not like the main villain, when someone else is the main villain, he caused it somehow. Like, you know, like look at Sonic 06 Mephiles. You know, it's his fault Mephiles got released because he was trying to recover. You know, he stole that scepter that he was sealed in. You know, if he hadn't tried to take it, and you know, not punched Rouge who had it, it wouldn't have fallen to the ground. You know, it wouldn't have fallen to the ground shattered. He wouldn't be released. Get it? So everything is his fault. Everything's always his fault because he always meddles in affairs. When we saw the trailer and we didn't see him, Zach was like, "Oh, well, maybe he's not. Maybe this is the first time he's not responsible for it." And you know, then I look at the plot and see, oh yeah, it turns out he released them. It's his fault. He tried to control them and failed. And I'm like, of course, it's always his fault, isn't it? So the idea of teaming up with him is interesting. I think he's gonna become he's gonna like turn heel at the end and become the final boss or some shit. But what do I think about? And I hear Tails, Knuckles, and Amy are gonna be in it. That's fine, but I would humbly request that they swap Amy out for either Shadow or Blaze because I hate Amy. Because I just hate Amy. I like Tails and Knuckles, but I cannot stand Amy. She is so fucking annoying, and she has no purpose whatsoever at all, other than to be annoying, which is not a very good purpose, if you ask me. So, yeah, those would be my thoughts on Sonic Lost World right now. And, let's move forward to, let's move on to the next game. And, of course, only three of you are going... No, first let me announce that I will do a Let's Play Sonic Lost World when the time comes, when it comes out. But yeah, now let's move on to the next game, and of course, only two of you are probably remaining now, since the rest of you probably only care about my opinions on us. Since the rest of you only care about me if it's Sonic related. You know, you don't care about anything. You don't care about my opinions on anything else or anything you want. So moving for the two of you that remained, let's talk about Batman Arkham Origins now. I will start off by saying that when Arkham Asylum came out, I loved that game, and when Arkham City came out, it blew me away. It was so great that it blew me away. That was truly a masterpiece of a game, so I was looking forward to the next Arkham game, because Arkham City left a lot of hints that there'd be a sequel in it. And when Arkham Origins got announced, I was a little disappointed that we were getting a prequel when there was so much build up to a sequel, and on top of that, it wasn't Rocksteady, so I'm like, ugh. But then Kevin Conroy accidentally let it out of the bag that he's working on another Arkham game, so I assumed that would be a sequel by Rocksteady. In which case I could put up with Arkham Origins, and not just put up with. I'll be looking forward to Arkham Origins because I realize that it's really more of a filler title in the Arkham series, but that doesn't make it any less awesome. So, but now of course the other concern is not being Rocksteady. It's like, who is? So how is Warner Brothers Montreal going to handle this? And then E3 comes around. E3 was basically the answer to that. Seeing the gameplay in E3, it looked much like Arkham City again, which is not a problem at all. It was basically just, as they put it, they were very surgical about what changes they were going to make. They added stuff on top. And that's how it should be, enemies can counter your counters, and then you can counter back their counters. Yo, dog, I heard you like counters, so I put a counter in your counter so you can counter while you counter while you counter. And, and new gadgets and stuff like that, and that's all good and fine. Now, something I have to admit is that I could go into a long nitpick about the Detective Mode's holographic simulator, because to me that's a little... And not just for Batman, for anyone, because I remember in one of the last episodes of Star Wars: The Clone Wars Season 5, they had a holographic simulator thing, and they're trying to investigate a bomb explosion. And here's my personal nitpick about that. They had the bomb, so they were investigating a bomb that blew up, right? And they tried to find out who set off the bomb. And the twist at the end, they don't figure it out through the holo simulator, but the twist at the end is that a guy working in the hangar was the bomb. There were like nano machines in his body that set off the bomb, and he exploded. And my thought is, well, wait a minute. If they had this holographic recreation of the entire scene that had the whole room mapped out, couldn't they just go to the origin point of the explosion and then rewind it to before the explosion happened, and then go by individual frames and see that this one guy blew up, and that he was the bomb. So my point is that I think that holographic simulation that a holographic recreation of the whole crime scene is a little too overpowered for crime investigations. Now, granted, if this kind of thing existed in real life, I would love it because because I have no problems with OPing our ability to determine criminals in real life, but for a story, it's a little much. So I'm a little concerned with it. So I think that's kind of stretching it for Batman's detective arsenal, but it does give more interactivity to the player. I'll at least give him that. And one thing I like, though, is I know we're going to be going to the same area that Arkham City, that the area of Gotham that becomes Arkham City, but we're also going to be going to South Gotham, just like South Gotham Island or something like that. I forget what I think that's what it's called. Which has taller buildings, which I like to see the larger Gotham buildings and have. It gives me more of it kind of makes me feel more nostalgic for like the Batman the Animated Series, a show that I watched when I was younger. And, things like that. It's like I feel kind of, to be doing that, there's like a nice little, I feel more like I am Batman when I'm, on tall buildings in Gotham and stuff like that. That's really cool. So I'm glad for that. I'm glad to have that. And, what else? I'm trying to think what else. Something about Batman Arkham Origins. Yeah, so... Yeah, new enemies and new gadgets, that's all good and fine. And Deathstroke, and there's going to be 8 assassins. We know Deathstroke, Deadshot, and Bane. And having Deathstroke in there is really cool. That's really cool. Now, what's kind of cool, what would have been also really cool is if Ron Perlman, the guy who played Slade, he was only known by his real name in this show, but Slade in that Teen Titans animated series, if he was... If he was Deathstroke in Arkham Origins, that would be cool. It's a shame that he's not, but oh well. Still cool. And speaking of voices, Batman is being voiced by Roger Craig Smith. Now that is cool. That is really cool. And hearing the voice, it's awesome. He does a great job. And there's one bit like at the end of the demo where the Joker blows up a building, and he gets really mad, and is like, it's like, how many lives did you just take? And he kind of roars it out. And I think about that, and I say, hey, Bale, are you listening? This is how you do a roary, angry thing, and make it sound a little intimidating. Not, where are they? I have sandpaper in my throat. Where's the trigger? So that was kind of nice to have that done right. He showed Bale how it's done, and on top of speaking of comparing him to other Batman actors, and I think this was the intention, Roger Craig Smith really sounds like a young Kevin Conroy, and that's really good. I'm really impressed. And I kind of understand what they mean by a rawer, scarier Batman now, because like in Arkham City, he would be able to intimidate people, but he would do it with a very calm tone, which is in itself really cool. It's like this is basically run of the mill for him. You interrogate like 35 different Riddler informants in that game, and he pretty much, it's like he has these threats prepared. He's not, like face or legs, which one do I break first? Whereas it seems, I think in Arkham Origins here, it's like in year 2 or 3 as Batman, and for him it's like, there's maybe a lot more genuine anger and impatience with the crime in the city because he's probably young. He's probably a little bit younger and more idealistic about what he can do, and he hasn't really encountered the big guys yet. He's just little thugs. So he probably thinks that if he can, so he's probably in a rush to probably put an end to this crime spree as fast as possible. So I kind of like this look on Batman, whereas for Batman and like by Arkham Asylum and Arkham City, it's just run of the mill. He's pretty much become a cleaner. He's more of a cleaner now. He's more of a cleaner in that, just a cleaner who cleans up after messes. Whereas he's probably trying to trying to solve everything more permanently in Arkham Origins. I kind of like that. But with that in mind, let's take a look at what is it. What is it? We should think about. So, yeah, sorry, I lost my train of thought there. So Roger Craig Smith is a good Batman, and the Joker, Troy Baker, is also a pretty good Joker. You know, he also sounds like a younger Mark Hamill, and it's really cool to kind of have this be like when they meet for the first time in this universe. And there seems to be some new villains. Like there's this guy, I can't remember his name, but he's supposed to be like very anti-corporation, anti-government, but pro-Batman. That sounds kind of fun as a villain. But yeah, the younger Roger Craig Smith, the young Batman Roger Craig Smith, good joke, you know, nice sounding voice Joker. But also, oh yeah, and the design for the Joker, I think it looks kind of that they managed to do a much better job than I'll admit. In terms of the way the Joker looks in Arkham Origins, he looks way scarier than he did in Arkham Asylum or Arkham City. That grin, damn, that grin looks friggin' creepy. But looking at and also let's take a look at Bane for a minute. I hear Bane is gonna be, you know, his design looks more in line with how he looks in the comics, which looks nicer. He looked a little too jacked up in Arkham Asylum and Arkham City. Well, okay, in Arkham Asylum he was given Titan, not Venom, so that made sense. And I think Arkham City was more cases of we're too lazy to come up with a new model for him, so we're just going to use the old model, but with new textures and stuff like that. So that's probably why. But looking at it, I hear Bane is going to be more smart. He's going to exercise his master strategist aspect a bit more in this, which I think is a great thing. Because here's my opinion is, Bane is a character whose intelligence is never really exercised in any of the adaptations outside of the comics until until Dark Knight Rises. But we'll get to that in a minute. Everything before that just use him as muscle. Even the Arkham series itself is actually is generally known for being very true to the characters' personalities, how they are in. In the comics, but Bane in that was so stupid. I mean, okay, in the first one it's excusable because in that one all he was jacked up on Titan, and that makes you crazy. You know, most people can't even speak. Most people just kind of roar like monsters when they are on that stuff. So he's not in this. So he's pretty much sent into a berserker mode basically, where he's raging and is going crazy. That's understandable. But in Arkham City, he actually tries a plan where he tries to, collect these, use Batman a bit, but he's so stupid. It's just, he should have, he really just, it's like, allow me to announce my plan right in front of you, then charge you like an idiot. It's like, he should have, a master strategist wouldn't just do that. That was totally stupid. And, yeah, I mean, like, you look at, and it was nice to have, okay, the DC animated universe, which did not use Bane very much, when they used Bane, he was just muscle. You could tell that he was actually supposed to be smart, though. That was the thing. He had a smart person. You could tell that he spoke very, even though he spoke with, the Spanish tone, he spoke very eloquently, and, you could tell that he was smart. He wasn't just this big idiot. But they only used him as muscle. Even though they showed that he had intelligence, he never put it to use. And finally, The Dark Knight Rises made use of his intelligence. I know some people want to complain that he was really just Talia's lackey in that movie, but hey, in Arkham City, Hugo Strange was really Ra's al Ghul's lackey. But did that make him seem any? Did he come off as any less of a mastermind because of that? I mean, we don't know how much of that plan was Talia's and how much of it Bane came up with in The Dark Knight Rises. Just saying. But yeah, it was cool to see an intelligent Bane. That was really nice, and I'm hoping that Arkham Origins, because they say they're going to have a smarter Bane in this one, I'm hoping they live up to that, and we see, I'm not expecting Bane to be the big mastermind or anything, but have him make use of his, okay, he kind of just in the demo, he kind of just surprise attacks Batman and throws him around the room. Fair enough, but I hope there's like a scenario where he manages to get the drop on Batman through some kind of clever trick or strategy or something, as well as using his excellent, his excellent physical prowess and whatnot. That's my thoughts regarding it. But yeah, so I guess that's everything I have to say on Arkham Origins. I'm really looking forward to it. I'm going to do a playthrough of that game when it comes out, and to that end, I'm also going to do a playthrough of Arkham City over the summer to prepare for that, kind of like how I did a Portal 1 playthrough to prepare for Portal 2. So look forward to that, guys. Because, you see, now, like I said, I finally have ideas on what to do, and this isn't the only game I'm going to play through. E3 basically thanks to E3, I have ideas on what I can do playthroughs of now, which is good because I've been straining on lack of ideas. But let's move on. This take is longer than the last one. I'm kind of worried. The last one was 40 minutes. The last take I did on this was 40 minutes. This one's already 35 minutes in, and I've only talked about 2 games. Dear Lord. So let's move on to Destiny quickly. All right, so it's no secret that I like the Halo series, and I have a great respect for Bungie for them. Actually, not just because they made Halo, but also their attitude. They have a really nice attitude towards their fans and whatnot. And when it comes to their respect for their fans, they're second only to Valve. And, that I really have an appreciation for that. So, I was kind of curious to see what they would be doing next after Halo. And, they talked, leading up to E3, they talked really big about Destiny. Like, they were talking big, saying a lot of things that even for them, this sounded like a lot. This sounded like they were really talking, they were really blowing it up a bit and, exaggerating. But then they showed it, and then when I saw the E3 gameplay presentation, my jaw was I was blown away, man. That really does live up to everything they say about it. It is that awesome. It is fantastic. I mean, it's incredible. I was blown away by it. I can't even find the words to say it. Destiny is just really awesome. Bungie has outdone themselves. That game is probably one of the best games I've ever seen, ever. I mean, that is, in terms of the excitement factor, that game won me over as the game I'm the most excited for now. No doubt. I mean, that game was pretty much what would happen if you took Halo, Mass Effect, let's see, what else? Star Wars, Call of Duty, the earlier Call of Duty, and Borderlands and Skyrim. You took all that and shoved it into a blend and put it into a blender to create undiluted awesomeness. And that's my thoughts on Bungie's Destiny right there. But let me elaborate more. It's like really cool, really creative designs, great visuals, cool powers, lots of guns. It looks like they put an astounding amount of effort into this. It's like, I can just imagine how much blood, sweat, tears, and other random bodily fluids went into making that game. They probably worked around the clock like crazy. They probably still are working around the clock like crazy. It's like, that game screams retarded levels of effort, just like retardedly awesome levels of effort. I cannot wait to get my hands on that game. It's like, that's just awesome. And my friends feel the same way. They all want this game. They all want this game. And I think we all know, so I think, and since it's on, and I'm also glad that it's on the current gen consoles and not just the next gen ones, because none of us have, because obviously they're not out yet, none of us have the PS4 or Xbox One, and we're not even sure which ones we're going to get. Well, actually, let me correct that. My friends are, I'm pretty sure my friends are all going to go, PS4, save for one who might go Xbox One, but even he was mainly because he's like a really big Halo fan, and Halo's like his favorite thing, but even he was talking about going PS4, and that tells you something right there. If he's talking about going PS4, you fucked up Microsoft. And it's kind of funny, because you kind of associate Microsoft and Bungie together because of how long they worked together on Halo and whatnot. But it's like, since going their separate ways, it's like, what has Bungie been doing and what has Microsoft been doing? Microsoft's been making huge efforts to basically screw over their fan base, while Bungie has been pretty much making that. There's no other words other than they made that, and that looks incredible. It looks like a lot of fun. I'm going to have so much fun playing it. I'm not sure if I'm going to do playthrough on it or not yet, because I don't know how big or how long it would be, and I don't want to spend 3 years making it. So yeah, that'll be my stance on that. And E3, Mass Effect, stuff like that. I'm trying to keep myself trace. I kind of went off on a tangent, so my brain went off on a tangent. So I'm trying to catch my stuff. E3, Bungie's Destiny. Yeah, I don't know much. I don't know what else to say, but fuck yeah, it's awesome. It's gonna be great. So I'm most looking forward to that game. And I've already hit the 40, and I've almost hit the 40-minute mark, and I've only talked about 3 games. Wow, I'm scared. But let's move on to what else I have to talk about. Let's talk about, hold on, let me just take a look. Yeah, I thought so. The new Super Smash Bros. Game. So, that's the other thing we can get the Wii U for, other than Sonic Lost World. And I played Brawl, and I really like. I got Brawl and really liked it. It's a really fun game. So, and I spent like months just playing that game. So I'm looking forward to that fun again. But this is what I have to say. Obviously, everyone's talking about the fact that Mega Man is in it. That's the big news. My friend Zach is a huge Mega Man fan, and we both saw that video where Mega Man was revealed at the same time. We were watching it together, and he had this big, huge smile on his face. He looked so happy to see Mega Man in the new Smash Bros. Game. Which, is it just called Super Smash Bros.? That's kind of a lazy title. Super Smash... Let's look at the 4 games now. Super Smash Bros., Super Smash Bros. Melee, Super Smash Bros. Brawl, Super Smash Bros. It's like, kind of lazy. Kind of lazy, no creativity on the title department, but Mega Man being in there is really cool, and it seems. And one thing that we noticed is they kind of kept all the sound effects in there, which is they did that for Sonic, but they're doing it even more so for Mega Man. Like even when he dies, they have his death sound effect from the old games in there. It's nice. I'm not really a Mega Man fan, so I'm not an expert on this. So I'm going to try to use my words carefully, so I don't sound like an idiot. Though I'm probably going to sound like an idiot anyway. But I know some stuff about Mega Man simply because my friend is a Mega Man fan. But what I can say, though, is this. I kind of hope Snake and Sonic stay in this game, because it'd be cool to have Solid Snake, Sonic the Hedgehog, and Mega Man in one fighting game. That'd be really cool. So, and so I have to say, Mega Man has, his powers seem to be like different abilities you could pick up from the bosses from various Mega Man games, and I think that's a clever idea, and I wonder what his Final Smash is. I haven't looked that up. I don't think they showed it yet, because they show the Final Smashes are back, which that's that is because I'm sure there's a lot of people complaining, because a lot of people had a problem with the Final Smashes. No, actually, let me correct myself. A lot of people had a problem with Sonic's Final Smash. Now, I don't get it. What was the big deal about it? People say it's overpowered, but didn't Pikachu have the same Final Smash? I mean, I didn't think it was overpowered. I mean, every Final Smash is meant to be a super powerful attack, so relatively it's not overpowered. There's and like I said, it's kind of it's just like how Mario's and Samus's are quite similar. They're both just a big energy blast attack. Sonic and Pikachu have basically the same Final Smash, where they turn into this awesome, all-powerful attack thing and go all over the place. But yeah, so I wonder if Mega Man's is going to be the only character in it. Probably, because Sonic was the only character in it, and same with Snake. The other characters in those franchises cameoed, but they weren't. But that was it. They weren't playable. But it'd be kind of cool to have, like, say, Zero as a playable character or something, or if not, hopefully he cameos or something. Because I know, from what I understand, a lot of fans like Zero. Again, correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know anything about Mega Man. I know very little about Mega Man. I do know about the Mega Man X series, and how that's like set in the future or something, and then it's like a new version of Mega Man called X, and the Zero is this, and there's other character called Zero, but I really don't know much outside of that. So please forgive my ignorance. But yeah, so that's my thoughts on the new Smash Bros. Game, because there isn't really much to talk about regarding it now. It looks cool. It looks nice. Yeah. So what's next? Wow. Okay, so I'm actually near the end. Good, because I'm already gone past the time of my previous one. So let's talk about the new Metal Gear Solid games quickly, because I forgot to mention those in the short video. What do I think about them? I'm kind of interested in them, but I'm not interested enough to buy them yet. But I've got my eye on them. So Metal Gear Solid Ground Zeroes and Metal Gear Solid 5. Metal Gear Solid 5 being a prequel, like that makes any sense. Why did they just call it Metal Gear Solid: The Phantom Pain? Why did they call it Metal Gear Solid 5 if it's a prequel? That's really stupid. But yeah, we got Big Boss. We got 2 games following Big Boss, and they seem to be doing this new open world style for the Metal Gear Solid franchise with Ground Zeroes and 5. And it looks interesting and it has potential, but at the same time, I'm also scared because, I'm like thinking how many weeks, how many hours, days, or weeks of my time is going to be spent playing this game. That's what I'm also thinking about with Destiny as well. But Destiny, I'm probably going to have more. I'll be honest, I'll probably have more fun with Destiny than Metal Gear Solid. I think Metal Gear Solid. I mean, I like Metal Gear Solid. And I think it's a great game franchise, but it's a game franchise I suck at. It's something I suck at. So yeah. Because I have no patience. Because I have no patience at all. So. But it's a really good idea. And I don't think I'll be doing any playthroughs of any Metal Gear. Yeah, I also won't be doing any playthroughs of any Metal Gear Solid titles for that reason because I suck at them. So I'd be like on the easiest difficult or anything, and who wants to watch that? But I'll say this much: if I were to play through a Metal Gear Solid game, it'd either be 3 or 4, probably 3, because 3 was the most fun. Though 4 had some pretty fun boss fights, I'll admit that. And it had a really great weapons library. And I'll also credit 4 for having multiple locations as opposed to just being set in one area like every other one. So I think 4 had a lot of good ideas, but I think 3 overall was probably the best. But looking at the current one, looking at Ground Zeroes and 5, well, I guess I'm kind of interested in them. And Snake's got a new voice actor, which I hear David Hayter's taking that. Well, it's not Snake; it's really Big Boss. I think doesn't he have a new code name like Dead Snake or something like that in this? I don't remember what it is, so forgive me if that was wrong. But he's got he's got a new voice actor now, and I gotta say that I don't have a problem with that because Big Boss appeared in Metal Gear Solid 4, and he wasn't voiced by David Hayter. So it's like with age, his voice obviously changed a bit in a manner different from that of Solid Snake, who kept the David Hayter voice and just got a little gruffer sounding as he got older. But yeah, so I think as Big Boss gets older, it should kind of switch over to to a different voice. So I don't have a problem with that. And I have to say the one thing that I have to nitpick looking at that trailer, there's this thing where you get on a horse and there's like guards coming by. So what you do is you hang on the side of the horse and pass by the guards. But I think those guards have to be complete idiots if they don't see you. How can they not see? How do they not notice like the feet or the hands sticking on the horse? It's like, it must be one of those Brazilian one of those Brazilian boot horses that I know about that has human hands and a boot on it. Or it's like, wow, they really didn't see that one coming. They really did not see through that. But that aside, yeah. So I guess that's all I really have to say about the Metal Gear Solid games. But let's take a look. Let's take a look at the last two things, which are teasers. We saw a teaser for what is it? Yeah, for Star Wars Battlefront 3, which is finally getting made, though they're calling it Star Wars Battlefront now, which is, again, kind of stupid titling. The angry video gamer would have a fit about this, but yeah, Star Wars Battlefront. Finally, we're getting the long-awaited sequel that we've been waiting for forever. I'm a big fan of Star Wars in general. Star Wars is like my favorite franchise of all time. I'm a huge hardcore Star Wars geek nerd, whatever. I could recite lines from all the movies. I know how every scene plays out. I can do good imitations of all the characters, etc. So color me a Star Wars nerd. And I've loved a lot of the Star Wars games that have been released. I could probably, that should be, that's great. I love Star Wars games. So, but there are two Star Wars games that I thought. Well, there are two Star Wars games that needed sequels. Battlefront 2, because in other words, we needed a Battlefront 3, and we needed a sequel to Star Wars Republic Commando. We also need the Force Unleashed 3, but I don't think we're going to be getting that now that LucasArts has been shut down. Fuck you, Disney. Fuck you, Disney. So hard. And now EA has Star Wars. Oh, fuck me. But yeah, I've not been on board with the whole Disney has Star Wars thing. I hated that from the very minute. No, I screamed out. I was just basically repeatedly shouting no. I was like, when I found out they had it, I was heartbroken. But this will turn into a completely different rant if a completely different topic if I go on about this. So I'll stop it. So I'll just get back to the point here. So I was also really pissed off when I found out that LucasArts was working on a Battlefront 3 build that was and then it was, they got rid of it when this happened. So now EA doesn't, but I kind of thought, well, if EA has it, they'll probably make Battlefront 3 in the interest of making money. So that was the one positive side. Like, the one positive side of Disney having Star Wars is maybe we'll get the original trilogy on Blu-ray without the edits. That would be nice. That would really be nice. Well, okay, some of the that would be actually, I'm gonna go back to what I was just saying. That would be really nice to have that, because I mean, there are changes there are changes I like, and there are changes I don't like. And I think with Return of the Jedi, I mostly am for the I'm mostly more for the original version, because I think what changes were really, there was the dance scene. There was the dance scene I prefer the original dance scene. Oh, what am I doing? I'm getting. See, this is the thing. This is why I like Star Wars so much. I could talk forever about it. All right, back to Battlefront again. Don't get sidetracked, Jack. So, but I'm trying to make a point that Disney will probably at one point release the original trilogy without edits in the interest of, because they know people will buy it, if they're smart, that is. EA, at the very least, understand that people, they only care about money, but at least they understand how to make money. And at least they understand what people will, but in that case, they understand what people want and what they'll pay money for. So, I'm not concerned about EA. So, in that sense, I'm not concerned about, I am concerned, but I'm thinking to myself that at least it means Battlefront will get made because they know that people will want it. That's what I'm thinking. So, and of course it did. And they got DICE, the guys who made the Battlefield games, to make it. Now, hopefully they're not writing the dialogue, because I'll be honest. Because I'll be honest, the Battlefield games, dialogue-wise, I mean, I don't think anybody plays Battlefield for the campaigns. This is just my thing. But since this is Star Wars, I'm going to say this much. I hope they don't write the dialogue, because the F-bomb is dropped every other sentence every other word in the Battlefield games. I played a bit of Battlefield 3. I couldn't get past the full campaign because something went wrong, and I couldn't figure out how to get online either. I think they had problems with it, so I just kind of didn't really care much for Battlefield 3. But I think to myself, well, it's possible that they could make Star Wars Battlefront 3 good, and I'm hoping they will. But what I'm really wondering is, no, they're using the Frostbite 3 engine, so that probably tells me that this is a new game from the ground up, and not that early alpha build that we saw from LucasArts, which is fine. We went through Free Radical Design, had their own build, and they scrapped that, and it's like, so this will be like, at the very least, the third build, the third attempt to make Star Wars Battlefront 3. It's like Duke Nukem Forever of Star Wars. Hopefully the reception-wise, it won't have the same disappointment. That's what I'm bracing myself for. The possibility that this could still suck. Hopefully it doesn't, because I really want this to be good. Because, it's Battlefront, man. And with that in mind, I'm also going to do some playthroughs. I said I'm going to do a playthrough of Batman Arkham City. I'm also going to do a playthrough of Battlefront 2, and maybe I'll do a playthrough of Republic Commando, just because I really love that game, and that's probably one of my favorite games ever. So, expect those as well. Again, I'm saying I have more videos to make. That's the good news. And what else? We're reaching an hour. So I'm trying to. Yeah, one more thing. This is the last one, because we talked about Battlefront 3 now. The one last thing we've got is there was one more teaser. Now, I want to so let's go back to the Xbox One thing. There were two major problems I had with the Xbox One. Outside of I hate it the same way everyone else does, but there's two things that were like absolutes. I won't buy it. The first one was this always online function. Initially, they said it has to connect to the internet once every 24 hours, right? And I was like, what the fuck? But my was concerned, I'm like, wait, what happens if I don't connect it to the internet once every 24 hours? Does my console explode? Do I lose all my games? It's like, I wanted them to explain it. And if something that radical was true, like losing my games forever, I would say fuck that console forever. That would be an absolute deal breaker for me. It's like, I'm not so invested in something that I'm gonna power it on every single day of my life. I recently put on the Xbox and started playing games again, but I don't think I touched the Xbox, but for a while I haven't touched the Xbox 360 at all. So I'm not gonna. I'll be buggered if I have to sit through, this dumb shit of being required to put it on to power on once every 24 hours. So I thought, fuck this, right? I was like, even if Halo 5, even if it does have Halo 5 and 6 on it, I'm still not getting it. Was my mindset. That's what, but then it was revealed at E3 that all that happens is your games lock up and you pretty much have to put it on the internet to unlock them. And that's stupid, especially considering there are people who have internet issues and whatnot, and people who don't have internet. You know, that is stupid, but I myself, who has a decent enough internet that I can connect every day, I can put up with it. You know, so I'm not too worried about that anymore. There is one other issue, which I'll get to later, but first I want to talk about it. I said to myself, alright, even if it has Halo 5, I don't care. I'm not going to get it. Even if I'm a huge Halo fan, I'm not going to get it. That's what I said. And then when I went to power on my Xbox to start playing through Arkham City to get a New Game Plus file going, because I mention that in my Arkham City playthrough I'm going to do it New Game Plus. So, yeah. I went through I went through the game on normal to unlock New Game Plus. And what I saw was and I saw like Halo on Xbox One, so I clicked the thing and I see this teaser for Halo 5, and I'm like, God fucking damn it, what is wrong with me? Why do I want this? Because it's like it's just a goddamn CGI trailer, but somehow I'm getting excited for it. It's like, why? Why? It's on the Xbox One. I really cursed myself because that absolute not getting it. When I saw that teaser got shaken to, maybe I will get it, possibly. When I saw Halo 5 on it, it's like, fuck me for being a Halo fan. You know, no. You know, there are two things I've cursed. I've never actually cursed until now. The first thing is I've cursed myself being a Halo fan. The other thing I've cursed is Halo not only being on the Xbox and not being on the PC. I understand it's a Microsoft thing, but if they were to announce suddenly that Halo 5 and Halo 6 are going to be on the PC, that would make my eternity. That would make my eternity, because then I would not have to get that piece of shit Xbox One to get Halo, right? So, yeah. This is pretty much my stance regarding it right now, is my decision about whether Halo 5 is not coming out until 2014. I won't need the PS4 or Xbox One until 2014. All the more so if Destiny is going to be on the Xbox 360 and PS3. And if other games like Battlefront are on the Wii U, that'll help. Now, Metal Gear Solid I think is going to be on like the Xbox One and PS4 only. But I can wait on those. I'm not so ecstatic for those games. Hell, I haven't even gotten Metal Gear Solid Rising yet. Speaking of which, I should probably buy that game. You know, so even though I'm a Metal Gear Solid fan, I'm not like uber Metal Gear Solid fan. I'm just kind of like, I'll get it when I'll just sometimes get it. But my thoughts are regarding Metal Gear Solid. Not Metal Gear Solid, Halo 5, duh. Yeah, I've been rambling on for 50 minutes now, so I'm kind of losing train of thought. I'm sorry this is so long, but that's why I made the short version. So the Xbox One, Halo 5, Xbox One shit. Xbox One shit. Halo 5 looks awesome, but Halo 5 got me excited for it, but not the Xbox One. Excited for Halo 5. So there's gonna basically be there's like in my head right now there's a good to shit ratio going on. The good being supplied by Halo 5 and the shit being supplied by the Xbox One. And basically, my thought is if Halo 5 is good enough to overshadow the shit of the Xbox One, or if it turns out the Xbox One is not as shit, is still shit but not shit enough to to make Halo 5 not worth it, which I doubt. The Xbox One is going to... I think the Xbox One is going to be the shittiest thing possible, so I'm prepared for the worst in that regard. But I'll get it in those conditions, but if Halo 5 is not good enough to, overshadow the shit of the Xbox One, or the Xbox One is just so bad that even Halo 5 can't save it, that can save it in my eyes, cannot make it worth getting in my eyes, then obviously I'm not going to get it. So it depends on how things unfold. I can't answer right now because I don't know enough about Halo 5, I know enough about the Xbox One to say I don't want it, but what I will say though is there is one factor that I might put up with it, but like my relationship with Microsoft has always been put up with things I hate for things I want. Heck, I got a Kinect for Sonic Free Riders, which that wasn't worth it. That wasn't worth it. Sonic Free Riders was not good enough for a Kinect. Heck, I think my friend is still borrowing that game. Or maybe he gave it back to me, I don't remember. But, yeah, Kinect, Sonic Free Riders, nope, Halo. Yes, Halo. So, now, if Halo 5... So, I'm waiting for... So, I don't know... Obviously, I don't know about Halo 5 to say if it's going to be good or not. Hopefully, it is, though. And the other thing about the Xbox One, since the online thing isn't a problem anymore, there was one more issue I have with it, and that is the price. Good God, what the fuck, Microsoft? Did you not learn anything from Sony? I mean, when they announced that the PS3 was going to be $599 US, that became an internet meme in no time flat. Everyone made fun of them for that. The Xbox One is going to get on in history as an internet meme as the embodiment of shit too. You know it is. But it's like they didn't learn anything. They're charging it for $500 goddamn dollars. What the hell? I mean, that's way too much for a console. A console should be, at the most, $350. That is the highest price a video game console should go for. You know, I mean, now granted the PS4 is $400, but again, this is why the Xbox One. This is how the Xbox One is their greatest asset. That doesn't look so bad in comparison to $500. So, you know, even though I still think that's a bit too much, you know, it's like, hey, at least it's not the Xbox One. But I will stand firm with my belief that $350 should be the maximum cost of a console. And, you know, they always hide behind this whole, oh, we're losing money for all this stuff, but I don't really believe that. And you want to know why? I wrote an essay in college about, you know, my opinion on the real reason why the movie industry is losing money and it not being piracy. And as research for that, I looked up how the box office was actually faring. And you know what? They're doing a lot better than they want you to think. The box office is actually doing fairly well. You know, they're not doing as good as they did in recent years, but you look into how they were in the past, like before 2000 stuff, they are doing phenomenal. They are making loads of money. So they're full of shit. They're full of shit when they say they're losing money. And so is Microsoft. And so is every publishing company as well that wants this whole DRM bullshit and everything. They are full of shit. You know, it's pretty much, it's big business is saying, oh, look, the economy's bad, and there are people actually losing money. If we pretend like we're losing money, we can take advantage of this and try to get bills passed to support us. God damn it, I fucking hate these people. But yeah, on to Halo 5. Halo 5 is, from what I've seen of it, I actually have to admit, I'm actually quite interested by it, but I have one major question to ask. Why is Master Chief wearing a cloak? You know, there's just no reason for that. He's got a suit of armor that I'm sure can protect against any weather conditions. There's no reason for him to be wearing the brown cloak. I heard it was an in-joke because Destiny has a lot of characters in cloaks, but I'd laugh if the reason is because it turns out that in between Halo 4 and Halo 5, Master Chief trained to become a Jedi. That would be awesome. And I want someone to write a fanfic about that. Like, Master Chief is a Jedi. It's like, you know, I was watching the trailer with my friend who's a big Halo fan, and when the hood blew off to reveal the Chief, I just basically said to myself, "That's right, I'm a Jedi now." Yeah, and my friend said, imagine if he took like the hilt of an energy sword from Halo and, you know, got ready to activate it, but instead of like the usual energy sword blade coming out, a lightsaber blade came out of it. So, but yeah, all things considered, the cloak is kind of like, why? There's just no reason. Well, actually, I just thought about a fan theory someone said. There's a fan theory that Master Chief is going to become hunted by the UNSC, which that's all speculation, but if that is the case, then maybe he's wearing a cloak to hide himself. That would be cool if he was doing that, but I'm sure they'd have enough technology to see through a cloak. I'm sure that in 2552 they could still do that. But then again, it's 2552 and they're still using guns to fire bullets. Meanwhile, in Mass Effect, you know, you look at Mass Effect and they don't even use guns to fire bullets anymore. So it's like, so that is kind of a stretch to 500 years. We're still using guns to fire bullets, but anyway. I think that's more a case of the differentiation between the human and the alien weapons. So they had to make the weapons look closer to modern day weapons, just to make so that the alien weapons look more sci-fi and stuff. But yeah, so I don't know why he's wearing a cloak. He's got his visor's cracked on the side, But the thing that interested me in that trailer, well, obviously he stands up to this big thing that looks like it's going to be like a boss fight or something, and that looks cool. But what interested me, so he had a dog tag. He basically fastened his Cortana data chip into a dog tag, which is pretty cool. But when he went to, but normally when he comes up against like big things, like say the portal to the Ark opens, or the Didax crypt activates or whatever, when shit like that happens, he's gonna stand ready. He's gonna be like aiming his gun. He's gonna be getting behind cover. He's not. It's not that he's not like afraid. He's not cowarding or anything. But he's got the natural impulse to fear death and to avoid death, right? That every human has. So he has that. He has those survival instincts working. He's not just. But here he just stands in the open. He doesn't even move or ready his gun or anything. He just stands there facing down this thing. And it's like, maybe that's meant to give us a hint of the mindset of the Master Chief now that he's lost Cortana. Maybe now he's like, he's kind of lost his will to keep going a bit without her. So just a thought. Cool thought. And I hear Halo 5 is going to be in 60 frames per second. That's actually cool. So that'll be nice. I wonder if that makes me wonder if Destiny's going to be in 60 frames per second or not. I hear 343 says they're going to try to work on, improve on all the faults that people said that they had with Halo 4, which that's a good attitude to have. And I'll say this much: 343 Industries is probably the only part of Microsoft right now that I don't want to pound into the ground for their stupidity, because they're the only part that are actually acting how they should. Everyone else is just acting like complete douchebags. So yeah, that wraps up my thoughts on E3. I went for an hour this time, an additional 20 minutes of me rambling on than the previous take, which you won't see because I didn't really like that take, and I kind of spaced out during it and stuff. So I spaced out a bit here, but this is much better. So yeah, if you want to see me do a rant on giving more detailed reasons on why I hate the Xbox One, please go ahead and ask. I'll definitely do that. So yeah, thank you. I'll see you later. Got more videos to work on, so we'll be looking forward to that stuff.